Hey, what's up guys? My name is Azoh. Welcome back to Unranked Master. Today we are going to be reviewing a ZED versus TF game. This was a championship ZED game. And indeed, it did live up to the championship parts in the mid and late game. The laning phase was actually rather poorly played on my part. The TF was actually really good this game, and I'll try to point out exactly what he did right, but this game includes potentially one of the worst laning phases I've ever had. We have a pretty decent setups, and I'm not talking about the laning phase in its entirety, I'm talking about a section of the laning phase. I'll point it out to you, but you won't need it to be pointed out to you when it happens. So he's rushing for level 2 with this minion right here, and this minion right here, and that means I have to go back immediately. Because of course, level 2 spike is very strong for TF. He's obviously going W first, standard. And as you can see, he just does it really well. I've been told, or asked rather, to not pause as much, but I'll try not to. But he does his, it feels like he's playing on no ping at all, because he does his auto attacks so well. Really, that's, here it starts. Here it starts. But yeah, definitely he deserves all the praise I'm giving him, because he's doing his auto attacks really well, very fluently. And I actually think he went into body block that Q, so I didn't get the CS, which is pretty interesting. But overall, TF versus ZED lane is an interesting lane, because I think a lot of people think that, here it starts. I think a lot of people just don't do this. Not much to say, just the setup was just really bad, and you know, everything about it just didn't manage the wave properly. There was a little bit of RNG involved, and this is just poor. The reason why I went in here was because I wanted an aggressive Thunderlords, which I didn't get, and then I need a minion, wasting my energy and not getting the minion. As mentioned, poor start here. But the TF versus ZED lane is an interesting lane, because a lot of people think that TF wins the lane really hard, but ZED actually kind of struggles a little bit against poke early game, and a good TF can absolutely shove you out of lane really easily. Now TF has ZED has a lot of window for aggression, because TF does have to get close for his W, but even then, his W is the nature of his W, and the nature of his blue card is that he can spam it a lot. So even though I'm getting these half damage Qs, it's still shipping down. The bonus point is that I'm sorry, I'm not gonna focus on it. The farm was not good at the start of this game. Let's just put it like that. There's just not much. There's not much to evaluate on the farming. It just wasn't very good. But TF has, as I mentioned, TF has a lot of TF's gold card shuts down your room for retaliation before level 6, so he has a lot of free poke. But then again, you do have your W for zoning, and you are shipping him down. Like, you have good setups like these. You can take a look at that again. You have good setups like that, where you can kind of predict. This is just standard movement prediction. Like, I've told people before that the absolute most easiest way to get to diamond is by using this trick, and I'm not trying to clickbait you. I won't be spending 10 minutes leading up to the trick and then baiting it with a fucking silhouette. No, this is the trick. If you see a minion like this, they're gonna move up to it, place a W on it, and you get the flash. I think this is what got me diamond the first time. I just realized how consistent that is. And if you use that in your games, I made a collaboration video with Jeremy Gaming Curious, and I mentioned it there. It's the absolute best way for me, at least, to, it was the best way for me to climb to higher low, and I think it's the most consistent way to win lane for any champion, honestly. So if you learn to do that properly, and obviously I can still perfect it myself, but when I learned it better than I did before, it really just is a whole new world of understanding. So the reason why I didn't go in harder than I did was because he had exhausted, and I was baiting the flash, and with an with a flash E auto attack, it wouldn't have been enough. Simply because of the fact that the exhaust and the fact that I used my passive, so it wouldn't have been enough damage. So he's going to try to shove out, but since it was a cannon wave and you should always keep track of at least have an idea of when the counter waves arrive, so you don't just like bet and hope that they're not gonna come at a poor time. You know that they can't show up properly, and you should still be in good shape. I know that one attack was probably not enough to clear that, because of course you gotta remember that Hex Drinker is a little bit weaker in terms of damage than a Dirk. You get less AD and no armor penetration, you don't get the nice Dirk effect, so Dirk definitely shouldn't be underestimated, but usually Hex Drinker is still better versus AP, because it's just such a dominant item. Now I have timed his flash, and this is a good opportunity to start roaming, mainly because he hasn't hit, he has hit 6, so I want to start roaming right about now. Placing that pink word, that's because he did hit 6, so this pink word is really, really good. This is a really, really awkward roam. The synergy here is really strange. I mentioned at the start that this was going to be a championship ZED game, and it really lives up to the name. Not this part, and you can probably see why. The roam is just not synchronized. The timing is okay, but the fact that I didn't synchronize when they were fighting, and the fact that I used my W to get over the wall, it just didn't end up very well. So here, he gets the free roam. I did not ping that he was moving. I didn't actually see him. So honestly, partially my blame, partially their blame. This is just how TF works, though. And it's a good TF player, so obviously he's going to look for those windows, so I should have been more cautious. But you can see the pink word doing work, and it's going to do a lot of work in the future as well. So Nelia arrives in mid lane, she tries to stabilize, she stabilized the lane a little bit. And now we know that TF is probably going to start moving mid. Yeah, he's probably going to be mid around now, because he just got the kill and recalled, so him being around mid at that point is not too strange. So her stabilizing it definitely took away a potential advantage of shoving away when he was bot lane. So honestly, it's not looking too great right now. The setup is pretty bad. He doesn't have flash, and he should have exhaust up, because another trick I like to use when you're lazy like me and you forget to time aggressive summoners because they're not an easy 5 minutes. Use a proximity, as in using your own timer to count their timers. So since I used my exhaust, or my ignite when he used his exhaust, I know that when my ignite is up, his exhaust is up. And if my ignite is down, then his exhaust is down. It's an easy mind note. This is just some damage. I don't think I'm planning an attack here. I know that his flash is up in 1 minute, so I think I was trying to go for potentially something like that. But taking some damage can actually get you in a good situation. Sometimes you want to take damage, even if you can avoid it, even if it doesn't get you an immediate bonus, because it makes them play a little bit more aggressively. But that's not often. Oftentimes it's just better to avoid damage, establish dominance, force them to back, or just pretty much just dive without any risk because you haven't taken any damage. And I'm not gonna use the excuse that I was trying to take damage, don't worry about it. No, it's actually actually just lazy movements again. Oftentimes it's just a lot of laziness in laning, and my own laning in particular. Often I might step it out every now and then, especially on my main, but it's still laziness, and it's still just not very good laning, because there's stuff you can avoid for free. This is a good situation. Here I got a lot of people questioning my decision to ultimate, and let me explain that. I'm sorry, I'm using Twitch, by the way, so we're going to jump back quite far, because the file that I recorded, it was not corrupted, but it didn't look very good. So here, again, we're using the same trick I said before. It is ridiculously consistent. Just use your minions as an indicator for where he's going to move to farm them. Here, in this situation, rather than that situation, obviously I didn't deal any damage to him, with the ultimate in particular, but considering the fact that he could stun me under turret, and especially with exhaust, especially the exhaust part, and especially the part that I dodged a turret shot with the ultimate, is what really in the end made me want to do it. Because if I hadn't done that, I would have been in, first of all, I wouldn't been in a, I'm actually gonna play, because I know the guy who asked me to, who politely asked me to stop pausing as much. He's ripping his hair out right now because I'm pausing for no reason. Had I not ulted, I would have been stuck, taken another turret shot, not moved closer to the exit, and I would have had a failsafe. But above all, it's a defensive it's a defensive setup. I mean, I could flash. I could actually have flashed for it, but I think, you know, it's just more economical. Considering, I know you've seen me a lot of times maybe make the weird decision that I ult instead of flash or vice versa. It's usually if you're expecting a fight, you want to use your flash instead, but if you're expecting just bouncing back to lane, then obviously ulting is better because the cooldowns. So that's just interesting. It was a long dive that they tried to do, a bit of misplace and mistimings with TF, but the dive is not much to comment on. Flashing to get closer for an EQ auto attack, and then knowing that the turret will finish him off is still enough, honestly. And here we can see that I do not finish my Hexdrinker. Instead, I go for Warhammer and Dirk, obviously building into Yomas, and pick up boots on top of that. This is because, and I see a lot of Zeds doing this, finishing Maw is usually not the best option. You can definitely do Hexdrinker and you can do Dirk, a second item if you want. The problem is that you're delaying cooldown reduction way too long, and even though there's a diminishing return for cooldown reduction in terms of energy, with ZED at least, you still really want some cooldown reduction for your Q and your W, and pretty much almost all your spells. Just having them up more consistently, even though you're still limited by the same energy, even though you can still go out of energy with just 0% CDR. It's just really good to have more consistent, more fluent bursts, and more fluent poke. So delaying the cooldown reduction too long is not too good, but it varies from laning to laning too, and what your second item is. I've been kind of theory crafting a little bit with Black Cleaver, but I still, in my mind, and like doing a little bit of math on it, I just cannot justify Black Cleaver first item, even though the cooldown reduction is really good. I just feel like I can't justify it. However, if you're running cooldown reduction in glyphs, you can definitely pick up a Maw early, but though usually you're running magic resistance, so you know, it's a trade-off. It depends on what you want early game, aggression or defensive runes. So this is a bit of uncertainty here. We're still in a bad spot. We're 8-4, and I'm with 2 kills, so without my kills we're 8-2. So this means there's a lot of pressure for me to do stuff, and I'm not doing a lot of stuff. This is actually a passive winning style that, I mean, passive winning, that sounds very narcissistic. It's kind of a passive way to snowball games. It's a very strange expression, and I know maybe some coaches, no coaches watches this show, obviously, but if anyone, oh god, what was those cues? If any coach who watched the stream, they'd be very confused. But there's a way of just maintaining an advantage without necessarily feeling stressed to do stuff. This is mainly because we scale really well this game. We have a really good scaling comp with Shen double AD carry, and of course me to take out their AD carry. And obviously Vayne. Here he has a Zonios, and I noticed that way too late, but I don't think it matters too much. I should have turned on Needly there a little bit earlier, because there was like half a second where I didn't do anything, but you know, we're talking minor stuff here. It is very unfortunate that I was too slow and missed my Q. Otherwise I could have not triggered my Hexdrinker. We should absolutely be recalling right now. And they go ham. Or not recalling, we should be going back. They go ham, not much to do about it. Still in a bad spot. Can't do much about the dive either, no W, so it's one simple Q. You feel so helpless sometimes with the Z, especially when your W is down, you're just kind of there. Can't do much about it. Waiting for the Needly Spear here. No ultimate up, it blew up, and W up, and we're actually fairly far ahead, so. But yeah, or rather, we as, like, ZED is very far ahead, but as a team, we're super far behind right now. But I think when I pick up my Yomas right now, we're gonna be able to snowball much more efficiently. Yomas is still my favorite item in the game right now, I think. And for a long time, obviously. I've been first buying it for quite some time, or second buying it back in early seasons. just everything about Yomus is just so freaking good for Zed, and for many other champions. So really, I really, people have tried to ask me about builds where you don't build Yomus and Black Cleaver. Like, I can almost accept Black Cleaver not being built because there's so much that gives you cooldown reduction and maybe the Last Whisper and such, but not building Yomus is just insanity. Though there is a video coming up about not building Yomus in the future, so we'll see about that. But for now, we're gonna try to get back in this game, honestly. Because this is definitely a bad situation, but since they're not really pressing, and I think this is, as I said, really bad farming this game. There's something about, still something about this game that made me really calm when I played it, because they weren't pressing their advantage at all. I mean, my farm was bad, my roam wasn't good at all, I didn't really shut down TF. Oh my goodness, what is up with this Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't really shut down TF too hard. I mean, I beat him once in lane, I think, and I was able to get flash and such, and I was able to print a little bit of roaming, and I was able to pressure a little bit, but it wasn't enough, considering after level 6. I should be pressuring a lot more, and my roam wasn't really not on point and such. For some reason, I was still very calm, and it was because they weren't pressing their advantage well at all. And our lane comp was obviously very solid. So here is a good flank if I can get to it. But I don't think I make it there in time. It's still a very good flank here. I should be going in right about now. I actually shouldn't be doing defensive. I should have been going in right there. There was no reason to be scared. It's a big mistake, actually. If I went in earlier, it would have been really, really solid. Because I could have gone in with the E, with the W, done an E, and then gotten a passive on TF, and then have ulted neatly. It would have been a great situation, because with Flash, I was still super safe. So here, there really isn't much I should be doing. The red buff, I should be noting, though, mentally that I do have a red buff, so we can potentially still do stuff, but going for catches can be dangerous. This is really good, though. This is a great situation. Because I see TF moving up here, and as I mentioned, the red buff, very solid. That is a flash Q, and I think I've explained that before. It's as simple as doing a Q while you flash and you channel it. And we're gonna rewatch this fight, so don't, or if it's a little bit chaotic. And I think I simply just don't ult in because the red buff is too strong. Now, as I mentioned, red buff is a very nice addition on Zed. So here, obviously, they're all grouped up. It's very hard for me to do anything, and it's a big waste to kind of waste the opportunity by just trying to go all in on one and 100 zeros on one here. But they're obviously split here, because I notice TF is not with them, don't have any vision, but I turn around here to kind of prep for the flank, and then I see him, because that's where he's supposed to be, and here, channel Q, flash, get the full damage, and then people have asked me why I didn't ult here. And that's because, well, he would have Zhonya's the ultimate, and he had the Zhonya's the red buff. And, you know, if he flashes from the red buff, I still have the ultimate for his gold card, so it's honestly quite fine. There was never any risk of him surviving that. So we cleaned this up. I am very far ahead right now. I think at this point I'm considering if Ma is even worth finishing. I'm obviously going to finish it because they have double AP. But I'm considering what to finish first, if I should rush a Black Cleaver here, because the CDR could be super nice. When you're snowballing, it's kind of risky not to go with the CDR, because you might be losing potential value. Because just sitting at 10% CDR while being 7-0 is kind of weak, honestly. So it's a tricky situation, because, you know, Black Cleaver is pretty expensive. But since there's so many turrets, like, just lying about, I kind of figure, you know, I can probably greed this. And here, obviously, just face tank it. There's really no question about this. He has no damage to deal. So I'm sitting about, I'm sitting, like, a couple of camps away from Black Cleaver. So it's not too bad. And, well, I mean, I have a longsword. I'm actually extremely close to Black Cleaver right now. I can probably just get it when I recall. I didn't realize I had that longsword. I thought it was a dirk. Should be enough, right? Yeah, it is. So Black Cleaver, that extra 20%, we are in super good shape right now. The armor shred, everything, I have pretty much everything about Black Cleaver. like Black Cleaver combined with Hexdrinker or even Maw is such a forgiving combination. And I think I displayed that right now and actually mentioned it on stream that this is such a forgiving combination of items. Because I think, as I recall, I screwed this up quite badly. But it doesn't really matter, right? That's a terrible setup, and then go for a really bad fight overall. It just doesn't, there's obviously some risk, but I'm still out of the fight with like 30% HP, so we're still in really, really good shape. And that's just after missing everything horribly and still getting a kill because my team were able to follow up because they dedicated so hard, but they just can't kill it because honestly, having Black Cleaver and Hexdrinker this early, on top of just like not rushing it, they clearly have a ward here. I should have probably expected that. That's a good try. But having the Black Cleaver Hexdrinker this early is just super hard, makes you just super hard to kill. And of course, Black Cleaver makes your ultimate extremely strong. I think I can't state enough how good Black Cleaver is on Zed. I've tried to do it so far. Should jump to W there. That's a waste of time actually. If I'd jumped to W, it would have saved like 1 second, 1.5 seconds there, because I was just running in the same path anyway. This is very aggressive positioning, but we are sandwiching them a little bit here. So if you got anyone with the taunt, that would have been a kill. And here we actually do go for the kill on him and jump back out safely because there's no risk. There's no point in staying, rather. And there's no point in risking it, so jump back out. Shove this, relatively free, manage your energy, Jacob, there you go. We're still 14-12, or 12-14 rather. And, being 8-0 in this situation means that if I don't have the damage right now, we're really, really in bad shape. So we have Dragon advantage, we have we're equal in turrets, and we are kind of behind in farm as I recall, and I have a pain in my neck apparently. We're kind of behind in farm at the moment, so it's still like, we're still in the situation where I really, really, really have to perform. So, because I have all of our gold essentially, and we're still behind, so. But with that said, Shen can still peel from being behind, and Vayne can still deal damage while being behind. Not as much as, when she's ahead, duh. But Silver Bells still kind of give some consistency in that matter. Not that they're too tanky though. When Zed or TF did go Zhonya's into ROA to Zhonya's or vice versa. I think it was actually Zhonya's into ROA, which is very, very tanky. One of my more preferred builds, though I think he should have picked up a Sheen before that. Sheen ROA Zhonya's is really good. Not specifically in that order, but it's a really good flank. Pick up one, ult the other. And this was never really gonna work, because the Royal Ice gives her too much HP. And here I think we should absolutely be going for Nashor, but the problem is, it's solo queue, And solo queue means everyone can mismite, even if it's completely impossible for them to get it. So I go to zone Neely, and something awkward happens. I don't know why I jumped to that W. I think I was just so shocked that she'd actually keep walking. So, she had no chance. I zoned her fairly well, I guess. Recall, and we pick up. What do I go now? Do I finish my Hexdrinker? I think I just go, Dirk. I think considering their team and considering the fact that Renekton is not going tanky yet, and the fact that I probably want to end the game relatively early, I think either Duskblade or Tiamat would have been better. I think with the gold I had, Tiamat would definitely have been better. I'm just thinking if the BF sword would have been good. But I think Tiamat would have been optimal here, because Tiamat can be built into whatever I need it to. Burst or like survivability, or rather wave clear survivability. Later on, of course, both Titanic and Ravenous both give burst, but honestly, I've always liked the Titanic burst, like a little bit more than the Hydra burst, mainly because it's just instant when you do the first auto attack. Because if you didn't know, that the Titanic Hydra empowers your next auto attack, well, the Ravenous Hydra is just an AoE. It's an active AoE. So let's see, one gets caught, and then we can go for the flank here. They obviously don't have much of a chance. Alt 1 and go back, get dragon or mid. Problem is that our mid is pushing, so I think dragon, while they are getting mid, is optimal. Graves should definitely be going mid right now. I can solo this very quickly. And double Ocean is going to be really nice too. Obviously, Ocean is probably the weakest dragon in late game. I personally just really dislike Earth Dragon. I understand that people think Earth Dragon is really strong, like potentially the second strongest, but after the buffs to Cloud Dragon, I actually really like Cloud Dragon. They had to like double the effect, or rather increase it by 66%, but at this point it's actually pretty strong. So here they have not much to say about the Siege unless we kind of massively screw up, which we do. This dive is really, really far. We have no minions. I thought she expected the cannon minion to tank the turret afterwards, but you know, it's Baron empowered, so it has range. And besides that, it's probably not a good situation anyway. This is just like, I don't want to call it Clown Fiesta, but it's just waste of time. It's just dicking around mostly. And I still have this obsession with Maw. Recently, I've gotten less interested in Maw, mainly because of, you know, there's just something about the slow ramp that's not as interesting, I think. But in late game, it's just such a consistent item, and in laning, it just makes you invulnerable. And it's just such a dominant laning item that I think it's hard to skip, but, you know. Honestly, though, with the arm penetration and the rage passive, I just think it's too good not to get. It makes it so you don't have to go many other defensive items, and makes you a nightmare versus AP. The shield is really, really good, so there's just too many good aspects about it. The problem is just that it doesn't give CDR, and, you know, pretty much most of your other items do give CDR, and you're kind of delaying your other CDR spikes for it. But you can like stay at Hex Drinker and potentially Dirk if you want the arm penetration, and before you go the Maw, and then people are like, well, you might as well finish it off at that point because it's only 850. But those 850 could be the difference between Black Cleaver and not having Black Cleaver. And in that situation, I think Black Cleaver like it's just much better. Like a completed Black Cleaver, and it's obviously the recipe is cheaper for that. But the difference between Dirk, Hex Drinker, Dirk Hex Drinker, and Maw, and Phage, Warhammer, and Black Cleaver is really, really big. So I think I'd rather have Black Cleaver in that situation. Here we're just kind of awkwardly flanking. I see TF going mid, so we should absolutely be going for a siege right now. Baron is down and he's calling the wave, but with next wave coming, we should be staying here. We have an easy dive. Because my team has really caught up as well. They're still kind of behind, or in kills rather, but my team, like the team gold in general, with the dragons, with the barons, with the turrets, and with the farm potential. Oof, that's bad. With the farm potential, it's just giving them a lot of opportunity to catch up. This is going to be hard because he can get eaten. I put a lot of faith in Shen though. And that's my phone, by the way. I'm sorry about that. And we get this for free. Honestly, there's not much to talk about in the game anymore. You know, TF went for a kind of split, but it wasn't really gonna work out, so I think in general the game is kind of over here. I hope I showed the snowballing fairly well. The idea of kind of staying calm, because I know a lot of people freak out when they're the only one who's fed, and, you know, I'd be kind of guilty of that. But what I did this game was I stayed calm, because we did have a skilling comp, and there was no like time limit, because oftentimes there's a time limit, especially with ZED, because you don't really destroy late game. But you know, it varies. But most of this game is over at this point. There's just like not much to talk about. The snowballing was consistent. The laning was not very good. I hope I still showed off my favorite technique for reading lane. It really is the best way. I know it sounds super simple, and I saw so many comments on the video with Jeremy where people said this is super basic. Everyone knows about this, but I see so many people not doing it, and it's so consistent and useful when I started doing it myself that it just feels bad not to I just can't imagine so many people actually doing it. Oh, this must have been some really bad lag right here. Huh. Yep, that's... Did you guys see the ping spike? Oh man, I thought they fixed the US servers. That's pretty bad. Anyway, I think... that's not nearly spare. I should really be backing out here. I think that's pretty much it. What we should be doing is either setting up Baron, because we have a bot inhibitor. No, we gotta kill top lane, so this is a free Baron, or a free mid, or a free whatever we want, honestly. Bot inhibitor means Baron free, and we can take it so quickly with Vayne and Graves that it doesn't really matter, so I'm just kind of dicking around, which is honestly incorrect, because we're giving them an opportunity to catch up with this right now, but they're just so fed that it doesn't really matter. And this guy's going full Gosu, and that guy's going full Gambit, I guess. But this is just a clown fiesta, at least the end of it. I think the start of the game wasn't as much. There's a lot of methodical play to it, I think, at the start. Even though there was a lot of misplays, there's not much to talk about now. The game is essentially over, so. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm trying to make it a little bit less slow-moving, the Unranked Master, at least reviews, because reviews are far more popular and I think far better content. I think Unranked Master live commentary are just very low effort. And you might call this low effort as well, but especially I saw the Uberdinger. There's no German either. The Uberdinger video about low effort content in League of Legends community, and you know, I actually got the last hit with Cutlass. I didn't actually feel very hit by that, because I agree that like a couple of the live Unranked Masters were low effort, though many of them were not. I actually put, you know, it's hard to say, because, you know, there's low effort where there's, we ended with 12:08 by the way. There's low effort where you're kind of at some point you could say that, why does a artist, this is going to be a terrible analogy actually. You know what, let's not go down there. I just think that there's calling every live commentary a low effort is unfair, I think, because there's still at some point you gotta consider the fact that it took a lot of time to get to the point where I feel comfortable enough actually educating people on League of Legends, and you know, it's personal preference though. Like I said, I wasn't too hit by it, because I do feel like I'm moving over more to reviews, and I feel like these have been helping a lot, I hope, because I'm getting very positive reviews, and I'm actually really happy to be helping out. YouTube has been going very, very well recently, so thank you all for that. It's been very nice, and I'm glad to make you all happy. There are some people who watch my videos before they sleep, which is like optimal, because, you know, I've been very self-conscious about my voice. I am really rambling right now, but thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry about the rambling. Hope you guys liked the episode. Quite the stomp, but not perfect. Far from it. The laning phase was really weak, and even though we did get the game going and did keep up the game, it's still the fact that you know, there was a lot of opportunities where we could have lost the game. There was a lot of misses, a lot of things to improve on. But I hope you guys enjoyed all the same. If you did, well, you can like the video. You know, it's your choice if you disliked it, but if you're still watching and you disliked it, I don't know. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Peace.